everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Soul Conversations. In the Soulful Conversations, I like to bring in people that are in the 3D business. Everybody on the panel has a business that is working on Earth. This is where we live. Yet they get their information from somewhere else. And the somewhere else is their soul. They follow their intuition to bring into the world what they're doing, whether it is by serving others, by serving themselves, by bringing you a product, whatever it is. On this conversation, you always find a lot of people with very, very different backgrounds. And today we have 4 different backgrounds that are going to be talking to you live from their soul to the 3D. And before we start, I want you to see how wonderful the speakers are on the panel. And if you like what they're saying, oops, wrong corner. On this corner, you have the handle of everybody, and you can reach out whenever you feel like. And today we're going to start with you, Sifu. If you want to tell us who you are and what you do.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate being here. People know me as Sifu Raphael. That means teacher in Chinese. I teach Chinese martial arts, but I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, including when I was in high school. And for me, it's always about helping other people. That's why God gave me this life, so I can be here to assist as many people in the world as I can. So not only do I have a martial arts school, but I also have a platform for teaching people how to communicate properly. And I also have an in-person place, and I'm looking for amazing communication instructors. Could never have enough. Thank you.
Oh, that's beautiful. The communication is so important, isn't it?
Absolutely. Without that, we wouldn't get what we want.
Exactly. Beautiful. Thank you.
My
Maria,
pleasure.
your turn. Who are you and what do you do?
Thank you, Dominique. First, entrepreneurship for me is about freedom to structure my life and my schedule how I want, to be able to spend time with my family, go travel. We just got back from a trip, and to have that, I need that freedom in my life. And as I get older, I find that has become more and more important. So I'm a parent coach and a practicing astrologer. So I bring a lot of those astrological principles and energy into my coaching, because the study of astrology and the birth chart is essentially a study of the blueprint of an individual's energy. We are all energy, right? So that brings a lot of value to parents in understanding their children. I'm also a speaker and an author, and I'm a practicing attorney. That's my formal background. So some of the areas of focus that I work on with parents are communication skills and boundary setting. And I draw on, in addition to my trauma-informed background, I draw on some of my legal expertise in helping parents articulate and reinforce boundaries.
Oh, we have 2 communication experts in their own ways. I love it. Suzanne, your turn.
Thank you. I'm Suzanne Koojiman from the Netherlands, and I'm a coach. I specialize in self-healing, self-love, and just mostly for women to really unleash their inner magic, because I think really all the healing you can do starts from within, and I want to guide women to help them in unleashing that magic that they already have inside. And I came through that journey because I've had a lot of I had anxiety and phobia, and I had a lot on my plate, and also had a traumatic event that led to PTSD. And all that really forwarded my spiritual journey and my inner growth. And I feel healthier and happier now than ever because I have learned how to unleash that inner magic within myself through many self-healing techniques, but also through self-love and self-compassion. And yeah, that's my main focus, to help other women to do the same, really.
That's beautiful. And thank you for the inner knowledge. We all need that.
Thank you.
Melanie, your turn.
Thank you so much. I'm really grateful to be a part of what you're doing here. It's wonderful. For me, I am Melanie Whittaker, and I am from England, but I have now moved to sunny Spain, which I love. I need the sun. And my business is I do public relations, mainly for female coaches, but I can do that for service providers too. And I love it because it makes their business super visible, because so many people, and I'm not bashing this, but they just look at social media and emails, which you can still build a good business off that. But when you add public relations to the mix, it's like adding rocket fuel. So I get them interviewed on podcasts, magazines, online summits, and it helps them fill retreats, masterminds, VIP days, and I'm currently helping a client with a book launch.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this. And right now that we know everybody, we're going to go into the first question. So everybody's going to answer the first question. And the reason why I go with the same questions is we all have our path, we all have our journey, and we all go inside out and not outside in when we look for our answers. And if you're listening today and you're thinking, I have a business, but I'm not where I want to be, or I want to start a business and I'm very overwhelmed with data and everything, all is good. Wherever you are is the place where you need to be. But if you start by looking from the answers inside, it's going to go a lot faster. And this is why I bring people that are already in business to talk about when they started, right? Some of us started, like Sifu, you've been in that world forever. Some of us maybe a little bit less. And some of you, maybe you're not in there yet, but we can all learn from each other. In my world, it's all about the collective, all about the community. And I'm going to start with my first question. So if you reflect on the early days of your soul-led business, so Sifu, maybe not when you were in high school, maybe closer to now, what were some key hurdles that you encountered while trying to balance the spiritual principles with the business realities? And how did you navigate them? We're going to start with you, Sifu.
Oh, thank you. When you consider negotiation is the biggest aspect to any business, and you need to become really good at it. So you first negotiate with yourself. Do you even want to start the business? I think that's the best negotiation that we can do, and why. So we need to know the why, the how, and have a plan. I think it's important for us to have a plan. I have many businesses currently, and I'm just starting another one. And for me, it's always about knowing where you're going. And no matter what people are going to say to you, if you have the vision to start, you also have to have the vision of your end game. What is this business going to do, not only for yourself, but for your community? Because if you are in business only for yourself, you will fail. You need to do it for others. Why did I even start my first business? I started it to help people. That was my mission. And the obstacle I faced was negotiation. Once I understood where I was going, I needed to convey that to other people. Therefore, I needed to convince my landlord that they needed to give me a fair shot at taking over their space. I negotiated with them for a year before I accepted their terms, and they accepted mine, but I wasn't going away. And if it didn't succeed with them, I know it would have succeeded somewhere else. But also before I found the perfect spot that I was looking for, it took some time. And believe it or not, back in the day when I had a motorcycle, I just got on my motorcycle and I just drove. I rode for a while until I saw a place. I was like, whoa, this is it. And that's when the negotiation started. So negotiate.
It's interesting that you're talking about negotiate, because in your first answer, you were about communication, and now it's about negotiation. So I'm curious of where everybody else is going to go with this, but there is a very, very close correlation between communication and negotiating, right?
You need the right words.
Oh my God, yes. Don't you ever, right? Because if you could be negotiating for years and years without no one ever understanding you. Yeah. Maria, what is your take on this?
Oh, wow. So, kind of piggybacking on what Sifu said, walk on the way and the way appears, right? You have to keep going and have that end goal in sight. And one of the biggest hurdles for me was to really concentrate on one thing at a time. I'm a Gemini, so my energy is kind of scattered. I get excited about new opportunities. I get excited about setting things up, but I had to really focus and concentrate on one thing at a time, especially at the beginning where you're in kind of a rush to set things up so the business flourishes, right? So part of that was deciding what needs to get done today, then what needs to get done tomorrow, and kind of chunk the tasks instead of getting overwhelmed and allowing yourself to be overwhelmed, because that leads to stagnation, right? That analysis paralysis. So if you're too overwhelmed, nothing gets done, and you're not helping yourself, you're not helping your business. So it was really focusing on one task at a time and tackling something else only when that task is set up and working or it's completed. And that took a lot of stamina and determination to do, because we get excited about things, right? But that is more important than ever, because we have so many distractions. It is so easy to get distracted and just get off kilter. But that was one of the biggest hurdles for me. But when things started to work, that was really validating, and that system was working.
Yeah, when you find something that works, and you can see the external point that is like, oh yeah, this is working, you keep on going, and then the more it works, the more it brings in.
Right.
That's awesome. Thank you. Suzanne, how about you?
Yeah, mine was similar to Maria. At the start, I really struggled to find that balance, because I found that I was tying my worthiness to being productive. So I was always being busy, doing more, and never felt actually worthy of what I was doing. And like I said, I tied my worthiness to being productive. So I knew I had to change that, because it wasn't helping for me. So I knew I had to question, like, okay, where is this lack of worthiness then coming from? So I had to look within myself for these answers. And I found out that it stemmed from my teenage years, when I was dealing with the phobia. And I was literally like indoors for months at a time, because I was too scared to leave the house. So it really felt like my life was at a standstill at that time. And I feel like I had to play catch up almost, because I was doing well now, and I had to like prove to others, like, yes, I'm doing well. I've got this, and I can be worthy and productive at the same time. So I really had to like take a step back, heal that for myself, and then regain that balance in, like, okay, I don't have to be very productive to be worthy. I can just be, and I'm good.
That's awesome. I was okay with being worthy and productive at the same time. I love that. Melanie, how about you? Oh, we can't hear you.
Me,
We still can't.
and I know that this.
Okay, yeah, we hear you now. Thank you.
Hear me?
Yeah, we can
For
hear you.
me, I know that a lot of people struggle with this. It's never going to go away. But I think if you can start from the beginning and work forward, this is going to be good for you. And that is self-belief. When you're having a really good day, you're on fire. But there's going to be those days where you doubt yourself. We do the comparison game when we're online. We look at other people. We wonder if we're doing things right. And when you're having one of those days, I want to say, give yourself some grace, because not everything is going to go right. Not everything's going to go well, but that doesn't mean that you're failing. It means you're growing and you're learning on the journey of entrepreneurship, and just to show yourself some gentle kindness like you would a child. And yet when we're adults, we forget to do that.
Yeah, sometimes on our path, we forget that fun has to be part of the whole thing, right? So I'm
I'm
gonna
all about the
piggyback.
fun.
That's good. I'm going to piggyback on what you started about the self-doubt, because self-doubt is something that at one point in our lives, we all go through. And I don't know, Sifu, maybe you want to talk to people that have multiple businesses, because this is where you're at. Like every business is its own entity. Every business has its own soul. So maybe everybody else wants to talk to the ones that only have one business. But Sifu, if you can, talk to the ones that have more businesses, because when you face self-doubt, especially in the early stage, so early stage of each of your businesses, or for us, our own only business, how do you overcome these feelings, and what techniques? Don't tell me to go do martial arts, but maybe some other things or practices that would help us maintain the confidence and the resilience. You're muted, Sifu.
I thought I was muted. When we consider anything in life, I think movement is the most important. And you don't have to do martial arts, but I suggest movement. So we need to move our mind. We need to move our bodies. We need to move our plans forward. When we consider any business, there has to be movement. Who's going to be in this business? How many people are going to help you build this business? So I talk about business forecasting. When we consider who's going to be involved, they need to know their roles inside and out, but they also need to be made responsible for their roles. But they also need to understand that their role is important. For example, I did a show earlier. By the way, one of my businesses is podcasting. I actually have 6 shows. So for me, I did a show earlier and I talked about forecasting. And the concept on business forecasting is you need to make everyone in the company feel important, including the janitor. And besides saying, hey, I need the bathrooms cleaned, great. They're getting paid. But that's not the reason they want to do a good job in the bathroom. If you let them know the brand requires us to have a super clean bathroom. So when our clients go into the bathroom, they feel like, wow, this is clean. One of my clients walked into my bathroom all the time. He's been here, I think, about 11 years. And he said to me, my daughter went into your bathroom recently and came out. And she goes, oh my God, I love this bathroom. I feel like I can actually even eat in it. I said, whoa, that's a little disgusting. But I am so happy that your daughter acknowledged that we care enough to give her the value of how important she is. And so when you tell somebody we need the bathrooms cleaned, they need to understand that it's that person going into the bathroom that it makes them feel valued. And if somebody's sweeping or somebody's cleaning the windows or somebody's greeting a customer, it's every little thing that has to go into that business. So when we talk about doubt, the doubt that can creep in is because you allow it. Mm-hmm. If you start with the plan and look at everything that can go wrong, but plan on that as well. Therefore, you eliminate the doubt, and now you create what we call excitement. And I think that is what's really going to lead you to have a great business. But you can't just say, I'm going to open a business and forget all the tiny little details. Because for me, details matter. They make a business successful or one that used to be. None of my business used to be. They're all still thriving.
That's awesome. I always tell my teams that the magic is in the details. I'm all about the branding. And I do believe that you take away a lot of the self-doubt when your branding is consistent, because you take away your own self-doubt, but also the self-doubt of your team because they know where they're going, and the self-doubt of the clients. right? Because they know that you're going to help them in whatever it is that you're doing. So thank you for offering that. Maria,
Pleasure.
how about you?
Yeah. So Dominique, one of the main areas of self-doubt when I started the business was just, will people buy this content? Does this content serve people? Does it bring value? And you won't know if that's the case until you start to offer the content. So you have to do it and test. So the technique I used to do that was, I have a YouTube channel and I publish free content, parenting and astrology content. And the content that really spoke to people, that they had a lot of questions about, that they asked me, do I have courses on this content? I doubled down on that content. So that was a really good way of figuring out what kind of content and coursework brought the most value to parents. So, and I took an attitude of, let's test different things and see what works. I had to let go of my perfectionism, because the perfectionism can lead to procrastination. I had to just take the approach that not everything will just be perfect, right? That I had to test different things, different content, different vehicles, and kind of see what worked. I know a lot of people that spend a lot of time, for example, on one detail, like, what should the title of this blog article be? What should the header of this email be? You're going to waste time if you're agonizing over every different, every detail like that. So you have to make a call, and if that works, make a note of that this worked. This got a lot of clicks, or a lot of opens, or a lot of sales, and this didn't work, so that you try different things. And I think if you take that attitude and that approach, you'll have more success, because then it's not that you failed at something, it's that you are testing things to see what works and what brings the most value to viewers and clients eventually. So that, from a business point of view, I think that is really helpful.
I love that you're taking something that people feel so harsh about, like when you start a business, oh no, I have to post everywhere. And you're like, no, it's okay. Whatever work will work. Thank you for that. Suzanne, how about you?
Yeah, at first I really struggled with imposter syndrome, because, I would follow these other coaches and they were doing so great, and they were showing, these luxury lifestyles where, oh, I make 10K, 20K, and I was still like struggling to, be noticed and be seen. And so I really knew I had to change that, because I started to focus more on just on me and my path, because I know we're all unique, and my story, my message, and my journey is unique as well. So yeah, I stopped the comparison game, and I really started to notice more like, okay, what feels good for me? What's, lights up my energy? What gets me going? And that's what I focus on. So find what feels good. But also at the basis of that is always my message, my why I do this. What do I want to share? And that's really the foundation for every decision I make in my business.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Really knowing who you are and what you want to convey really will take those self-doubts away. So if you're sitting here and saying, oh yeah, all of you guys, you already have your business figured out, we weren't always there, as you can hear it. We all started somewhere, and we all started by wondering, is this going to work? Every single business we start, like Sifu said, you go and you check it on data. And then Maria says, you test it. And then Suzanne is saying, you look from inside, and then you bring outside what is inside. Oh, I want to see what our PR is going to say. Melanie, your turn.
I love this topic, actually. And I totally agree with everything all the other people have said. There's a time, but I say this to my clients because we all struggle with it, and I myself this daily. Stay in your own lane, because if you're in the online space, which most of us are, you're seeing so many things, and you forget your own voice. You forget your own opinions, what your beliefs are, your core values. You start to dim it down, or it becomes a bit vanilla. So if you stay in your own lane, then you're staying true to who you are, and you're not worried about the competition, because you're focusing on you rather than what the competition are doing.
Yeah, that's a good thing. to not focus on what everybody else is doing and focus on what you are doing yourself. And to that, we're going to go into the next question. So how did you manage to find and sustain a sense of clarity and purpose in your business journey, especially in the first 3 to 5 years? Like, we're not going to talk from 1 to 3 when you're figuring out everything, but the 3 to 5 years is really hard because this is when you're growing, and this is, you've established your brand, you're there, but then you still need to be in balance, and you need to have that sense of clarity and purpose reaffirmed all the time. So how did you manage to find that and sustain it? Sifu, we're going to start with you again.
Thank you. It's okay if someone else goes also. I'm okay with that. Let's
I actually like the flow, Sifu.
Okay, I'm good with that. In my formative years, when I first decided that I was going to open up that brick and mortar, I already had a business plan written out, detailed, and that's how I was able to secure even the negotiating aspects with that landlord. The landlord, if you guys have, I'm from New York, they owned the Mets as well. So at that point, I was dealing with big corporation. And being that I used to work in corporation, I knew exactly how to talk to them. But in negotiating that deal, it also allowed me to understand that having a business plan is great, but not looking at your business plan is going to help you not do what you're supposed to do. So every day I was looking at my business plan and understanding that, oh, I need to do this. Oh, I need to do that. I would literally go to the train station near my business and hand out flyers to people, me personally. If I said, what time is rush hour start? Okay, it starts at 5 o'clock. Okay, I'm getting there by 4:45. I would be there and I would hand out flyers. And a lot of people would look at me and they're like, I don't want a flyer. So I started saying, how do I get them to take my flyer? And so I started doing some funny things. I would say, this will help you with your taxes. They're like, what? And they would take it and then they would look at it. And so I said, do you need an attorney? No? Great. I'm not an attorney. Take this. So it was all different ways of getting people just to notice me, because first, maybe they were already half asleep, but it was me being a little bit entertaining. And I didn't show up just in a t-shirt. I actually showed up in a suit, because most of the people going on were business professionals. And that's who I wanted to attract. Yes, it was a martial arts school. So why would I want to be in a martial arts uniform and not a suit, or vice versa? Because people would automatically look at me in a martial arts uniform and go, martial arts, I don't want that. But when they realized that I was serious and I wanted to do business with other serious people, I actually got a lot of lawyers, accountants, people who were in the business realm to bring not only themselves, but their children to start coming into my school. I already, before I opened my doors officially, while I was developing the place, I had the doors open, grand opening special, 20% off. And those little things, I'm in there painting, I'm in there doing whatever it takes, because it needs to succeed. I signed up over 100 people before I opened my doors, because I had my doors open. Many places you walk into and they say, coming soon, and the doors are locked. Not me. So after I got off the morning commute, I went to the business, did the work, opened the door. And so people walking by, I was in a shopping center, people walking by like, what's in here? I'm like, come on in, let me show you around. This is what we're building. And that's how I got people interested. How did I sustain that 3-5 years later? Guess what? What worked in the beginning still works later. So I would go to a train station. I would go to different places, join the chamber, let people know that you are in the community. Because a lot of times people start a business in a community and they're only serving themselves. But if we can serve the community will back you up. And I think that's an important aspect. Even if you're doing something online, you can let the online community know, I'm here for you. How can I serve you? Most people turn around and go, hey, just buy my product.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a loss. You're leaving so much money on the table, on the virtual table, if you do that. You should serve first. And then if they value the service you provided, then they'll want more. That's why at Speaking Prowess, we're going to have all kinds of free seminars, master classes, all kinds of things to give value and then to entice them to stay. Because the most important thing that a business has is the front door. The most important lock they have to put into their business is the one in the back door. So let them in, but don't let them out.
Yeah,
Not through the
that's
back
awesome.
anyway. Thank you.
That's awesome. Don't tell me, show me, right? I love it. Thank you. Maria,
Pleasure.
how about you? Oops, you're muted, Maria.
Okay, thank you. I was coughing, so I muted myself for a second. Definitely keep your goals in mind and the end goal in mind, and remember to be patient. It takes a long time to build something meaningful, something valuable. Meaningful relationships take a long time to build. Successful, meaningful businesses take a long time to build. So it is a marathon, not a sprint. Okay, so that's definitely number one. Secondly, when you have those moments of self-doubt where you think, maybe I'm focusing on the wrong thing here, maybe you're doubting your clarity, your sense of clarity, remind yourself that you're bringing value to people, you are helping people. Remind yourself of all those times that clients and viewers and readers reached out to you to tell you how much you helped them. It seems like every time I had a really strong moment of self-doubt where I doubted my direction or my clarity, I would get an email from a client or from somebody who read my book saying how much my book helped them, how much they enjoyed it, that they were sharing it with everybody they knew that it could help, that my course content was very valuable to them, that nobody else offers this particular course content, but I found it when I searched it, and you were the only person who offered it. I remember those moments, and it's like those moments gave me the stamina to carry on. It's like the universe telling you, no, you're doing the right thing. You're going in the right direction. Keep going. So it's important to remind yourself when you have the setbacks of all those accolades of the times clients and viewers, readers reached out to you to tell you how helpful you were. And this last point I really cannot emphasize enough. Schedule downtime for yourself. We are still confined by these earthly bodies. We need rest, and schedule time to reflect. My business coach calls it brilliance hours. Schedule time where you're not doing busy work or you're not prospecting. You are thinking about things. You are reflecting about the business, about next steps, about what's working. When we're in that day-to-day, mired in that day-to-day of the business, it's hard sometimes to be detached and kind of get that big picture view. So that time for reflection, those brilliance hours, that's the purpose of that time, is for you to reflect and kind of let things come to you, let your intuition speak to you. That is really, really important. And I really enjoy that time. It's almost meditative. So definitely you're going to have to schedule that into your day, but that is very important.
Brilliance hour.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to borrow this from you. It's beautiful. Yeah. How about you, Suzanne?
Yeah, the formative years are always hard. I mean, you're new as an entrepreneur, and it's like you're discovering who you are all over again, but as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. And I had that in my first 2-3 years. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I was doing it because I had such a passion and I knew why I wanted to do that. And so that's always the foundation, know your why and keep your passion for that why. You can even adjust your why and your message, because in those first 2-3 years, you learn a lot, you grow a lot, and you change even as a person. So you can, of course, adapt your why to make your message even more potent and help even more people. So don't be afraid to fail. Be compassionate when you fail. I don't see it as failures, but failures is just another stepping stone to becoming even a better version of yourself. So there's that compassion again. So you live, you learn. It's all a learning process. And yeah, be compassionate about yourself, because as I said, you're learning about a whole new version of you. That's the entrepreneur you. Yeah.
Yeah, compassion will serve you well in those years for sure. Thank you. Melanie, your turn. Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry. I'm loving what we're discussing right now, because it is something we are constantly kicking ourselves about. But I would say focus on serving people, which I know many of you've said it already, and I really like what you said. And we have to think about who we're serving and how we're helping them, and also why you're passionate about it. Because if you're not passionate about it, you're going to give up. 100% you're going to give up, because it's not going to be puppies, unicorns, and rainbows that people love to bang on about. You're going to have to put some skin in the game. You're going to have some days that just really are a day. And you're just going to be like, why am I doing this? And, you could have those moments where you think, maybe I should just give up. Maybe this isn't what I thought it was going to be. And when you have those moments, just acknowledge that you're being human. You're being human. You're building a business, and it's going to take time. And something that I'm super guilty of, but I'm going to say it: get rest. Even though I'm guilty and I wear myself out like the toddler that's being told they can't have chocolate, and I'm in a meltdown because I'm so passionate about what I'm doing. But then I'm like, whoa, take a break. Take a break, because when you're refreshed, you're going to look at this so much better.
Take a break. Yeah, I'm guilty of this too. Thank you for being vulnerable today. All right. So if you hear the same thing as me, you're hearing that the first years might not be the easiest, but they're formative. And if you want to change your brand, if you want to change your colors, if you want to change your offers, if you want to change whatever you want to change, it's all good. Be compassionate and have patience, and just grow in the whole of who you are and what you need to be for you to serve to the highest level. And now we're going to go to Maria. I'm sorry, to Suzanne. How do you incorporate self-healing and magic in your coaching practice to help clients unleash their inner power?
Well, my focus is on self-healing. And as I said, the focus is on self, but that doesn't mean, of course, you have to do it all alone. But to me, my journey, when I had to heal from my phobia, and then later on from traumatic events, PTSD, and even a mental disorder that came from my PTSD, I know how much power there is within yourself, because I really had to connect from within, connect to my body. I always wanted to overthink things and even think my way out of anxiety. And I was never connecting that to my body. So I know now how much power there is to really literally go within, meditate, and really ask yourself, okay, what do I need right now? And that is pure magic when you unleash that. It's your intuition, it's your guidance, it's everything, it's already within you. So to me, that is the most magical part that a lot of people tend to ignore. They don't listen to their intuition, or they just, wave it off. But that's where the magic happens. And that's what I help to unleash within you.
Yeah, I hear you. It's also my talk about all intuition, right? You find all the answers within and you bring them out. Thank you for this.
Thank you.
Maria, can you discuss the importance of self-improvement and healthy boundaries in both personal and professional settings?
Absolutely. So self-improvement, it's important to realize there are many ways to get there, many different modalities, from reading self-help books to psychotherapy to EMDR to focusing on learning about yourself, your authentic self through astrology, for example, so through studying your birth chart. And it's an ongoing process. Again, we're going for improvement, not perfectionism. You know, a relationship expert Esther Perel says this: it's not like you work on yourself and you reach this level of perfection and you present yourself in a little package to somebody else. It's an ongoing process. So it's really never 100% completed. That's okay though, as long as you are doing the work and you are considering, you know, how to be better. When I work with parents, those parents that they're always wondering how to be a better parent, and they're always questioning their parenting. Did I handle this right? Could I have handled this better? Those are the really good parents. The ones I worry about are the ones who have an attitude like I'm doing everything perfect. There's nothing for me to, you know, to read about. I don't have to read anything. I turned out fine. Those are the parents I worry about. The ones who are always questioning whether they're doing it right, whether they're parenting in a way that fosters connection and healthy self-expression and a healthy emotional life. Those are the parents that I really enjoy working with. And those are the really, really good parents. Because again, we're not perfect, but it's about, you know, making mistakes, authentic apologies, and repair. And that's very important to model for kids. So I'm a parenting coach. So from a parenting standpoint, very healthy to model for kids. And as far as healthy boundaries, I mean, if you don't articulate and enforce your own boundaries, other people will do that for you by default. If you do not prioritize your life, other people will do that by default. Okay. That means you have to be communicative. And a lot of people like me, who's a recovering codependent, we are not good at that. We are not good at advocating for ourselves and expressing and articulating our own needs. Right. So, and it's important to recognize that expressing and enforcing boundaries may anger some people. That's too bad. Nobody gets to decide our boundaries but us. Nobody gets to tell us that our boundaries are unreasonable. So, and that works in a personal environment, but also a professional environment. If we get work dumped on us and do not express boundaries and limits, then we will end up resentful and sick and unhappy, right? So it's important to directly communicate them. So that's a topic I just did a masterclass on boundaries, on getting started articulating and enforcing boundaries. That's an area I work a lot on. I provide a lot of insight on to parents. But yeah, again, the main takeaway is if you do not articulate boundaries and limits and your priorities, other people will do it by default because they cannot read your mind. They will not necessarily know when you are burning out, when you need a break, or when you're not okay with something.
Yeah, that's amazing. And a lot of people also are actually afraid of boundaries, right? Because we don't know, we had a lack of boundaries from the external world, but maybe we never learned how to respect our own. So yeah, right. Boundaries are a huge thing. Melanie, what strategies do you use to help female coaches craft their unique stories for marketing purposes?
Well, what I do is when I start to work with a client, I want to know what their vision is, because PR is noisy and I can make a lot of noise. But if we don't have a vision of why you want to be visible, why you want eyes on what you're doing, then it's a waste of time, because there's always something to look at online. So there needs to be a very clear direction on where we're going, what we're doing, and what we're going to do with the people when they find you. And then when I start to pitch them, I sit down with them, I interview them, and a lot of the times I'm asking questions that would not be related to what they want to do. So let's say someone wants to sell a retreat, and I could be asking something about their childhood. And they're like, why do you need to know this? And I'm like, because people connect with people for many different reasons. You could have gone through something in your life, which I'm going to add to the pitch, and someone goes, wow, they went through that. I'm paying attention to this person because I'm going through that now, or I went through that when I was younger too. I'm really interested in what this person's saying. And so when I've got the pitch together, it's my duty to sell you. That's the whole reason of you working with me. I have to sell you well. But the media are quite jaded because they're getting emails all the time with people wanting to be featured, whether it's a magazine or a podcast. So I have to make that pitch be that when the person opens the email, they're like, wow, this person's amazing. Hook us up. We want them, right? Because they're looking at it from the angle of, why should I interview this person? Is my community interested in this topic? So I have a commitment to do well for my client, for them, to pitch them well, but also so that the media will want them.
That's amazing. Thank you. Sifu, how do you integrate martial arts principle with leadership development in your training programs?
Well, Dominic, first I want to thank you for having me on the panel with such amazing human beings. I'm excited to share the insights on how we can seamlessly integrate timeless principles of the martial arts with leadership development. As someone who deeply is committed to both martial arts and the art of effective communication, the synergy between these two fields is truly inspiring. You see, in martial arts, discipline and consistency are paramount. Practitioners, this is something that they all have to work on. Every practitioner regularly has to follow rigorous training in order to enhance both their physical and their mental endurance. Similarly, effective leadership demands discipline. It truly demands it. And consistency is the most critical part to being successful. So by embodying martial arts discipline into leadership, we instill a habit of perseverance, which is crucial for achieving long-term goals. As a martial arts master, I got to tell you, I don't always see myself that way. I see myself first as a white belt, as if I'm just starting over, because I never want to be at the top by myself. I am thrilled to teach martial arts to a new person. I am thrilled to help somebody with their business who's just starting out or who's been doing it for 5, 10 years, but they need a different outlook into their business. So when you consider high pressure situations, understanding who you are and where you want to go, everything starts with us. Every morning I wake up and I thank God. I thank God that I'm awake, that I'm alive. And then I thank God for the gifts that he's given me. And I ask to allow me to share these gifts with the world, with my fellow brothers and sisters. These traits enable leaders to make balanced decisions and to inspire confidence in their teams, in their dreams. It inspires me to know that my day is filled with helping people. My mission starts with me. So I respect everyone I ever come in contact with, but first I have to respect myself. You know, the cornerstone of martial arts is fostering a culture of mutual respect and humility. These values create inclusive, respectful workplaces where every team member feels valued. And we take that from the martial arts floor to a boardroom. We take it with negotiating with a new client or an old client. I have clients who've been with me for over 25 years, and they're still thrilled to do business with me. And that's because I respect them first. And they know I respect me. So integrity is part of that. To understand that I am not, when somebody calls me a master, I'm like, please don't. I am still learning. That's the heart that I show up with. So let's consider strategic thinking and the adaptability that are essential skills in both martial arts and leadership. So every practitioner must anticipate their opponent's moves, and they need to adapt their strategies accordingly. Leaders, they need to navigate whatever challenges and adapt to those changing circumstances, whether you're on the martial arts floor, whether somebody's trying to hit you or punch you or attack you, even on the street, you need to negotiate your outcomes. On the boardroom, you need to negotiate the outcomes for the business. And even if you're just an employee. So these are important aspects that we need to take all along. And one of the most important things, if you allow me, is to talk about mentorship and continuous learning. They are fundamental, not only in martial arts, but reflecting on the relationships between a student and their instructor. Think about how many people have mentored you, and if no one really has, it's time that they do. It's time that maybe you look for a mentor if you don't have one. And if you do have one, it's time to, I'm sorry, I realize my hand gestures made my camera act a little differently. But if you don't have a mentor, it's important that we get one. But it's also important to mentor somebody. Remember all the mistakes you made. You have a gift to recognize those mistakes. And now you can share them with someone else so they don't have to make the mistakes that you did. Remember, people are going to make mistakes no matter what. When you tell the child, don't touch that because it's hot, they're going to touch it. Sometimes they need to make the mistakes. But if you can say, hey, I made the same mistakes, this is what I did, this is how I handled it, I think that alone will make you a great mentor. If you're not currently mentoring anyone, I encourage you to start. Start. Mentor somebody. Help somebody. And mentoring doesn't mean coaching. You get paid to coach. You don't get paid to mentor. Remember that. There's a difference. You do it because it's in your heart. And that's what mentoring is about. To help someone to leave this world a better place than you found it. So dig into your heart. Become the mentor that people need you to be. Thank you.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for this.
My pleasure.
So we're all in business because we know something that maybe others don't. We've learned something that maybe the others haven't learned yet. But the people that are listening today, they've been hearing you for an hour. And if you're listening and you like what you've heard, in the corner, you have the handles to reach out. But maybe there's something going on right now in your business that you want people to know. So we're going to start with Maria, and I'm going to ask you guys to each of you say what's going on and how can we reach you?
All right. Well, I currently offer one-on-one parent coaching sessions and courses, and also astrology readings, natal chart readings, parent-child readings, which are really popular, and relationship readings. I'm also an author, and my books are available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. I've written on Scorpio and Gemini children, how to be a better parent to those children. And I'm also a speaker, and I'm doing a lot of speaking engagements currently. I just spoke in Miami on negotiation skills, and I'm actually doing a TEDx talk on August 31st on the subject of teens and boundaries. That's in the Denver area. So if you're in Denver on August 31st, I would love to see you there. And I am reachable directly at maria@lawschoolheretic.com. That is also my blog, Law School Heretic. And my YouTube channel is Positive Parenting with Astrology with Maria Riegger. Thanks, Dominique.
Beautiful. Thank you. How about you, Sifu? What's going on right now in your world?
Lots. I am creating the communication community online. I have instructors literally from all over the world, from Australia, the UK, Germany, France, Dominican Republic, Canada, here in the States. And we're creating a platform to teach people all different aspects of communication, from how to use your body language to how to even do Zoom calls properly, to understand that your voice matters, to even teach people how to sell better. So we work with sales teams, we work with corporations, we work with managers to learn how to manage with emotional intelligence. We teach people how to show up, because the way you show up will help your bottom line. Wherever you are in the world, even if you show up in a t-shirt, in a swim trunk, wherever it is, it's the words that come out. It's not the suit, right? Even though I am wearing a suit. It's the words that will define how people will acknowledge you, how they will see you, how they even trust you. Words create trust. So use the right words. Come join me at speakingprowess.com. We're about to launch this whole platform. It's incredible. If you want to reach out to me, you can come messenger me on Facebook. I am Sifu Raphael G at Facebook, Instagram, Fitness by Raphael. I show people how to work out differently. Also, consider your life. Sometimes you need to stop scrolling and look in the mirror. Who are you? And don't tell me I need to lose weight. I need to do. That's not who you are. You're a beautiful soul. Find out who you are when you look in the mirror and show some love, because there's a lot of hate in the world and we need self-love. So I help people understand how we communicate. I help people in their business, how to take their business to a whole new level, from answering their phones to how to communicate to even having clean bathrooms. So it's important for all of us to understand every caveat of our business, how we show up. So if you want to learn how to show up, even on a podcast, join me. We'll have a chat. Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you.
My
Suzanne,
pleasure.
how about you?
Yes, a lot going on as well. We're always busy bees, right, as entrepreneurs. So yeah, I offer guidance in self-healing. So I have a course called Healing Habits, where I really just teach some basic techniques in self-healing, including EFT and breath work, but also journaling, mindset work, and the always important self-love. So, and I have a course in tarot. So I do tarot readings for you, but I also have the tarot connection, where I help you discover the power of tarot and how you can use that to really connect to your higher self and the universe and get the guidance you need there. And I also do some sessions where I've just uploaded a bodyfulness session where you can really connect to your body, because I think that's essential in self-healing, that you really connect to your body and learn to listen to your body. So with my bodyfulness session, I help you to do that. And I have a new course coming out very soon that's called Healing the Unseen. It's a shadow work course that will help you to do just that, shine a light really on the things that you can't see yet.
Nice.
That sounds like a full agenda. Thank you.
It always is.
How about you, Melanie?
Yeah, people can find me at my website. My business is You Are Your Marketing. So it's youareyourmarketing.com. And I came up with that phrase because I was doing public relations and being front of house for a restaurant, and the competition's fierce because there's so many doing the same. And I had a light bulb moment, and I was like, nobody's you. So focus on you, because you are your marketing. And then you can find me on Instagram with the same name, You Are Your Marketing. And what I'm up to is I would be more than happy to hop on a call with someone if they're feeling like, oh, you know, I need more eyeballs on what I'm doing, or I need to really promote something. It could be a retreat, it could be a mastermind, VIP days, anything that you think I need eyeballs on this. And if you also feel like you're doing all the selling, but people don't really know who you are, public relations is great because it lets people know who you are as a person. And that's what I do when I pitch. So I'm more than happy to hop on a call. You can do that when you go onto my website. And then also I've got a client that's launching a book on October the 11th. So I'm super excited about that. She's going to be a keynote speaker. It's going to be a big deal. And I'm excited for her growth. And it's a book collaboration. So it isn't just for herself, but she's got 20 odd women who have signed up and they're doing it too. So I'm excited for their growth and I'm excited for where they're going to go. And if I just want to say this, because I come across so many women who don't feel worthy. And I want to say to you, if you are questioning, who am I to stand out? Why would people pay attention to what I've got to say? They're gonna, but they can't do if you don't put yourself forward, you don't show yourself some love, and you let people know that you exist and how you can help them.
Yeah, that's a beautiful message. Thank you. And if you're listening today, you're going to have all the handles in the show notes at the bottom. And as we're closing this today, I want to recap with something that everybody says. We all here today talked about communication, outside in and inside out. It's a two-way, you know, it's not one way if you want it to work. And Sifu said, what's important is knowing where you're going. So have that vision. And then Suzanne said, find your own inner balance. Be balanced in your boundaries, but also in who you are and why you are and where you are. And Maria, she said, just do it. Figure it out on the way. I see too many people not getting out there because they're not ready, because they think they're not ready. And they're like, oh, I'm going to start when? Just do it. Do it. Figure it out on the way. And then Melanie, do not forget your own voice. Everybody did not know each other on this panel today, and the message is kind of the same. You communicate who you are through your voice. Forget about perfection. Just get out there and do it. I want to thank everybody for being here, for watching, listening, speaking, and I hope that we're going to see you in another 2 weeks. Have a great day, everyone.
Take care.
Thank you.